Hi, I'm Ems, aka on Dark and Wings. In this video I wanted to show you one of the ways in which I paint white armour. So firstly I primed the model in a white rattle can spray paint. You can use an airbrush if you want to, and then I painted over the top of it with some plain white paint. I thinned that down. Ideally, if you have a plain white and a bull titanium white, save the bull titanium one for the highlights later on. So once it's been primed and then painted with white over the top, I'm starting off adding some shadows. If you don't have this particular colour, just any off-white blue or greyish blue that's light will work, or mix it yourself. So I added this to my wet palette or dry palette, whichever you like to use, and then thin it down with lots of water so it's more of a wash consistency. You can add some lamium medium if you want to instead, or your choice of thinning mediums. You could wash this all over if you wanted to, or you could be a bit more precise, which I am doing. So I'm going more for the recesses and the areas where there might be some natural shadows. I think this blue-grey colour just adds some nice variation compared to just using grey, and it has more of a porcelain effect to it, so it looks like a cleaner white. So you get the gist of what I'm going for here, and then what you want to do is wait for this to dry. So I grabbed a Thunderhawk blue here, and deepening those shadows, just grab your equivalent if you can do. It's like a sea green type of colour. So I've thinned this down again, but I'm going to be more precise with this. So I've thinned it down, but I've wiped some of the excess away on a paper towel. I'm going for the panel lines between the armour here, so the deeper recesses. If you become untidy or make any mistakes, just grab another brush with some water on and wipe it away, or quickly wipe it away with your finger. And as I said before, when you're trying to be more precise with thinning down your paints, just wipe away the excess on the tissue paper and then check on the back of your nail as well to see how thin it is, because we're being more controlled with this. This is a similar way in which you would do glazing as well. I know it will take more time doing it, but it will make your model look better in the long run, in my opinion. It's neater. So you get the gist of what I'm going for here. I'm not just putting it all over like I did with the Thin Museum Grey. I'm being more precise with this. And you can always have a look at examples of models online so you can understand where you would put these recessed shadows. It's pretty straightforward. It's basically anywhere where a model meets another part, but it's worth having a look at some examples so you get a better idea of where you would put this panel lining, these shadows. So you could leave it there if you wanted to with those shadows, or if you wanted to get a bit more technical, grab some Inky by Darkness, add some black to the Thunderhawk blue or your equivalent. Same principle again with the Thunderhawk blue with the Inky by Darkness, so more controlled, and we are covering less and less areas, so just go for the deepest shadows. And once again, as I said before, it's worth having a look at some examples online of armour, see where the panels are. I think Inky by Darkness is a lovely colour. It's like an off black blue. So you get the gist of what I'm going for here. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the armour panels. So now I am going to be doing some highlighting. So now I'm done with the shadows, I'm going to be doing some highlights. So I'm grabbing some plain white paint. I'm thinning this down to a glazed consistency. So I'm adding water to it, but I'm making it more controlled. And I'm just going back over the model, just where I would naturally think there would be more light. And then I'm still keeping that Fenrisian Grey, the first shadows I added, in some parts of the model. Remember, you can also test this out on the back of your hand or on your fingernail. So I thin this down, but not to a wash consistency, more of a glaze. So I'm going for the higher points on the model, keeping that grey previously in the shadows. If you feel like you've made some mistakes and you've maybe got rid of too many of your shading areas, you can always go back in with your shaded colours. And there will be a subtle difference between the white and the Fenrisian Grey. So to really punch up the white, I'm grabbing a Build Titanium White. Now this isn't just for pro acrylic paints, other brands do titanium white. It's really intense white pigment. However, it's alright if you don't have a titanium white, just use the white which you've been using and then go back over the areas again just to punch up those white areas, those highlights. So here I'm making sure the paint isn't as thin as last time. It's going to have a bit more body to it. So I don't want it super thick and I don't want it too thin. And I'm going to be more controlled with this. So I'm just hitting the highest panels and doing sort of like an edge highlighting basically. And again, this will be quite a subtle transition, but the titanium whites will stand out a lot more. As I mentioned earlier, you can just do this with any white if you want to, but I think that Bold Titanium White stands out really nicely. If you wanted your white highlights to pop even more, you could use a white oil paint instead. So oil paints are really intense pigmentation. Obviously that's if you are comfortable with painting oil paints, and I'll probably do a video talking about them in general. And here are the final results. As always, thank you for watching. Remember to enjoy your hobbies for yourself. Respect the people who enjoy them in their own ways. And at the end of the day, they're just war dollies. I'll see you in the next one.